Well, you think it's rough out there on the ice. A little rough here with these eager Canadian fans from all over the country. Are you having a good time in Moscow?
Great time.
Real good. Real good. Where are you from?
Barrie, Ontario.
Yeah? How about
Dawson City, Yukon.
Well, there's the diversity of us from all over Canada. You, sir?
London, Ontario.
London?
And Wasaga Beach, Ontario.
Raceway in Rexdale.
Rexdale. All right. And here's a guy. He's got to be from Toronto or nearby.
No, I'm not. I'm from Port Colborne, Ontario.
There's no team in Port Colborne, right?
Yeah, we have a team. We have a good team in Port Colborne. An intermediate.
The Leafs are your team, huh?
The Leafs, well, they are my team, and I also am a Buffalo supporter now.
All right. All right. And a megaphone way up there at the top. They'll hear you coming.
This is the leader of the cheering section, and boy, we got 2 games left. We're going to win all 3 of them.
You lost your voice. Huh? Okay. Over here now we've got, here's a young fella. Where are you from?
Edmonton.
Edmonton. All right.
From Edmonton.
Edmonton, Alberta.
Hey, what do you think if we reinstate the Warwick brothers, Grant and Dickie and Billy? How's that? Oh, Don, by the way, we've got these cufflinks from the city of Edmonton for you as we gave to the Russians this morning. Hope you enjoy them.
Thank you very much. Yes, it certainly is. All right. We out of time? All right. One more thing?
I'd like to say how good the Russian people have been to us. Just the hospitality is just fantastic. Even though they don't speak our language, they have just been wonderful to us, fed us well, and kept us good.
Glad to hear it, sir. Enjoy the rest of your stay. Now let's go back upstairs to Johnny and Howie.
Okay, Don, I think 5 that went all right, but it's great to see so many people from so many areas across Canada having a good time with their team. It's just been a delight.
If y'all weren't heard, you were seen.
Matter of fact, the team went to see the Moscow Circus last night, and then the other people went to see the circus in training this morning. Some went to see Swan Lake at the Bolshoi.
How are you and I going to Swan Lake, or?
No, I'm going to the circus, John.
The zone to our left is the 15,000 stadium, and the teams are at full strength and support of the hockey game. One at the end of the first period.
Certainly could return to being the exciting hockey that we've known and appreciated. Set to go. Here's Bob Cole. 4-2, Russia leading, and the third period is underway. Gusev, a pass ahead at center ice. Harlamov again on the move. He's going in on Tremblay, and his shot is stopped by Cheevers from close in. Frank Mahovlich near the blue line. Couldn't bring it out, but Henderson does with McGregor. A pass to McGregor. He kicks it across the line, and Vasilyev is back, but Henderson takes it. He centered to Mahovlich. He shoots, and he hit the side of the net after the puck came off Gusev. A pass for Mikhailov coming out. Mikhailov for Russia, in with Petrov, and Harlamov. Mikhailov carries into the corner with it, stops. Mikhailov still has it. Now a pass to Gusev, and McGregor, slow in getting it out of his own zone. Flipped it up to center, and Petrov brought it right back in again. Took a shot, went high off Cheever's shoulder. Frank Mahovlich for Henderson. It went by him. And down the ice, it's icing against Team Canada.
But Harmonov was on the fly again. It's really where big ice tells the tale whether you can skate or not. And that Russian Harmonov can really fly. He went to the outside of J.C. Tremblay, took it to his backhand, and forced Cheevers to make a great save. That's about the 4th time tonight that he's done that.
Canadians have taken 35 penalties. The Soviets have taken 19 so far in the series. Bobby Hull faked at the back of the net. He left it there for Rick Lee as they come racing up the center now at the pass to Hull, but it never quite got through. Here comes Yakushev. Yakushev over to Lebedev. Lebedev, number 11. He lets a shot go, and that's caught there by the goalkeeper, Jerry Cheevers, and he holds on for the whistle. Lacroix in for the face-off, gets the drop, pulls it back for McKenzie, then loses it. It's knocked down in front of the net. The bouncing puck comes over to McKenzie, head to Lacroix, and he can't get to it. of the Soviets. Yakushev took an elbow there from Johnny McKenzie. Here comes Lebedev racing into the corner. Stapleton going over to cover him. He does. And takes the puck away from him. Jerry Cheevers takes a poke at it as the puck was lying loose back of the goal. Stapleton takes a look. He sees Hull flying down that left wing. He tries to give him that left wing pass. It's onside because it was touched. Hull takes it into the corner and holds it there for the whistle. Andre Lacroix is good on the face-off, so they'll like to have them down in that zone, particularly when he try to pull that one back for Bobby Hull to get his shot away. Meantime, Coach Billy Harris goes to the complete change. Backstrom goes to center. Gordy and Mark Howe with Schmier and Smith back on the defense. Puck went right around the legs of the defenseman, Rick Smith, and now it goes down into Canadian territory with Gordy Howe racing in after it. Back of his own goal, he feeds that pass on the right wing to Paul Schmier. Schmier's a good puck carrier. He goes into center ice. He's knocked off balance by the Russian player Kapustin. Back comes Vakilov on the right side, being scattered over there by Gordy Howe, and Howe has him tied up. Off the boards, but not out. Russians still have control. Here's Mark Howe bumping with the Soviet player. Here comes Ralph Backstrom, one-on-one, getting set. He shoots, and it's wide. Vakilov at center ice, number 18. Over to Eason at the Canadian blue line, and he's offside. Very rare thing to see the Russians go offside, and yet that's the thing that hurt the Canadian team so much here last Tuesday night. Every time they'd start to organize an attack, they were so eager and so anxious they were getting 1 and 2 men offside. Bernier's line is out there now against Petrov, and it's taken by Tremblay. Tremblay over on the left wing with Tardif. Tardif back to Houle. Houle has trouble with holding it with his skate. And it's Harlamov. Harlamov over to Petrov, and he loses control. And Houle is hit there by Bernier. Bernier still has control of it. Bernier works his way to the corner. Puck slides loose into the corner. Now it's back out to the line. It's being held. Here's Bernier. He fakes a shot, then try to slide it through. Instead of drilling it, it's back again. He shoots. Oh, what a save by Tretiak. And Serge Bernier, he'll lie awake all night wondering why these shots don't go in.
This is his fourth excellent opportunity. Look at Houle, sees the puck. Get it back to Bernier. Look at right on his stick. Look how quick he lets it go. He takes the look, lets it go right away. And Tretiak with the glove hand makes just a great save. That's the third time tonight he's robbed Bernier. The line has played exceptionally well.
Bernier, I think, has been robbed more often in the series than any other player.
Here it comes again from another angle. Kept in by JC. There's the big shot. Try to slide in front of the net. Now look at it come back to him. Look at the hole. There is the hole up high, and he was going for it.
Buddy Howe's shot from the blue line is high, and it comes out on the left wing. Back after it.
Far and Bernier over to Tardif, too far. To Gunkov. Stops at his own blue line. A pass ahead knocked down by Houle. He's in his own zone. Up on the wing is stopped by Segunkov. Into the corner against Marty Howe. Yakushev on the other side. Yakushev centered it. And Tremblay covered up for Canada. Put it on the boards for Bernier. Jean Houle coming out with Marty Howe at center. In with Tardif. Tardif didn't see the pass. And Lebedev for Russia ahead to Shadrin. He is stopped. Houle finding some skating room on the right wing. Coming back for Canada. Up over the line with Tardif. And it's broken up in front of the net by Segunkov. Then cleared by Shadalov down the ice. J.C. Tremblay coming up to center. For Tardif. Tardif was given a bump at the blue line. Here's Houle getting in front. And Bernier fanned on the chance in front of the net. Pass ahead offside was Lebedev. Up over center ice, so it's called back. Now Segunkov and Tardif have something going. That's quickly erased as they both go off on a change. They're nearing the 5-minute mark of the third period. 4-2, Russia leading. It was 2-1 at the end of the first period. And Canada was outscored, same margin, in the second. Long pass, stopped by Stapleton. Stapleton at center ice. Vikulov looking for that one. Ricky Lee stick handles up to center. Barges down the right wing with McGregor on his left in front of the net. Now Lee back to the blue line. Frank Mahovlich trapped it, tried to give it to Lee again and failed. Luchenko's pass stopped by Stapleton. At center ice, Kapustin back to his own blue line. Got a relay pass, chopped it into the zone. Cheevers comes out of the net, though, and cleared it back of the goal. Cheevers, a pass up on the wing for Henderson. It went by him. Frank Mahovlich couldn't reach it, and the Russians in control again. Vikulov in the center ice area. A pass ahead for Anderson. He turns back. Now over on the other wing, Kapustin stick handled by Lee. Anderson took the shot, got it again in front of the goal. And Lee was on the spot that cleared to Mahovlich with Henderson with him. Mahovlich going in. They call it offside on Henderson at the Russian blue line.
The Soviet team using three forward lines and two men, Kuznetsov and Budanov, are on the bench. Maltsev was injured in the second period. He has not reappeared. In fact, he isn't even on the bench. So it's three complete units that they have out there. They're going to try and maintain this two-goal lead.
Smear poked it ahead for Bobby Hull, and he comes back in his own zone to Smith. With Lacroix coming up with Hull and McKenzie. But Gusev has the pass from Lacroix. Gusev ahead to Harlamov. He circles near his own blue line. Poked it ahead. Paul Schmier knocked it down, gave it to Hull. Hull couldn't reach it. McKenzie at his own blue line stopped it. But Petrov was called offside anyway. And a face-off coming up outside a Canadian line. One of the Canadian fans with a cowbell at the far side apparently had it taken away from him, and he got it back again. Just gave it a jingle. That brings some whistles from the Russian fans. And now here's Mikhailov getting a break, and a slow shot is wide of Jerry Cheever's stick side. He was in very quickly, picking off a loose puck in front of the goal. Now McKenzie coming up with Lacroix. Lacroix over the line for Hull, but it didn't work. Petrov gets out across the blue line. McKenzie pushed him off the puck. Harlamov going in with Mikhailov, and Schmier sliding on the ice stopped the pass. Bobby Hull can't find any room to get going. A pass to Lacroix, and Lacroix's pass again on a Russian stick. Schmier lost it 2-on-1. Petrov going in with Mikhailov to Petrov. And one pass too many went by Petrov in front of the Canadian goal. Here's McKenzie coming out. He has some room to center ice. McKenzie into Bobby Hull. And that's stopped by Mikhailov, who cleared it down the ice. And the Russians are just content now with a two-goal lead and are checking furiously. Nearing the 8-minute mark of the third period. Hull again. Doesn't find any room. And Shadreen brings it in. Shadreen on the left wing with Yakushev. He was stopped. Howe lost it. Shadreen again a pass. And Cheever stopped that shot. Now Shadalov let it go over on the other side to Lebedev. He's stopped by Schmier. Vasiliev back to Shadalov. And he fanned on his shot. Three men break out for Canada. Gordie Howe down the wing. Up over the line. Had it poked away by Shadalov. And Shadreen feeds it over to Lebedev. It went by him. It was a high pass. Marty Howe with 1:20 left before the middle of the period when they'll stop play and change ends, and Gordie Howe comes out. He comes to center ice. Howe's pass in on the wing. Mark Howe has to wait for team members to get back on side. Gordie trying to help him. It doesn't work. Lebedev brings it in for Russia. He fell down as he spun around, went off balance. Now it's Mark Howe up with a shot, stopped by Stigankov. He has the rebound, centered it. Shadreen is covering up in front. Mark Howe in the corner. Hit Backstrom with a pass. Marty Howe let it go. That went off the leg and went wide. Stigankov against Gordie and Mark Howe, and they get a whistle for a face-off in the Soviet zone.
4-2 hockey game. Team Soviet in the lead, and let's pause briefly for station identification.
On the face-off, it comes back for Vikulov near the blue line. He has to back up again with Tardif watching him. Now along the boards, Anderson ahead to Vikulov. It's Fed into the corner a second time. Anderson over for Lutchenko. Out to center ice, and Ricky Lee stopped it at center. Now Tardif moving forward. Put it over on an open wing. Lutchenko has it at his own blue line for Vikulov. Up to center ice to Pustin, up over the line to Pustin, going in on goal. And a backhand shot was wide of the Canadian net, but he went speeding in all alone. Hull back with Tardif for Canada. Hull stick handles over the line. Bernier catching up. Bernier gets in front of the net. Oh, and that's 5 times tonight for Bernier all alone. He couldn't control it at the last second. Another shot hit Hull. And Bernier broke up a play just outside the blue line. Up at center ice, Tardif to Bernier. Bernier going in with Hull, shooting. And Bernier takes the rebound as the first shot was deflected. Then Tudin hangs onto it with a skate. And the play is called for a face-off in the Soviet zone. 14 seconds left before they change ends. So this is an important face-off. Canada trailing by 2 goals. 4-2. Frank Mahovlich with McGregor and Henderson. Schmier and Smith. Every man up inside the line. Jerry Cheevers, the goaltender, is over at the Canadian bench talking to the team doctor, Jerry Wilson. Something wrong with his left hand. He's showing it to Jerry Wilson now. Can't afford to lose Cheevers, that's for sure. The way he's been playing in this series, just superb hockey. He's okay, apparently, and is heading back to the net. Jerry Cheevers gets a hand from the Canadian fans down in that end, and we're set to go to the left of Tretiak. Puck is cleared right away by Varlamov outside the line. Schmier in the center ice area shoots it ahead for Henderson. Henderson tried to go by Vasilyev and failed, and it's cleared to center ice again. There's the buzzer as Tretiak stopped the long shot from Smith, and they'll change ends and go at it for the final 10 minutes.
The Soviet Union 4, Team Canada WHA 2. You're listening to Team Canada 74 on CBC Radio. Look at this. Fred Scambatti and Bob Cole at the Luzhniki Sports Palace in Moscow. A 4-2 hockey game advantage the Soviet Union as the Canadian contingent to our left and across the way setting up a chance, trying to inspire Team Canada to some scoring punch. Now here's Bob Cole.
And Schmier shoots one from center. It goes into the Russian zone. Henderson went behind the net after Gusev, who got the pass away. Mikhailov comes out across his own blue line. Hits center with a pass ahead to Petrov, to Mikhailov. His shot on the short side stopped by Cheevers. Mahovlich can't clear it. It's still in the zone where Petrov fed it back of the net. McGregor has it for Canada. McGregor on the board. Gave it to Schmier in front of the goal, up to Mahovlich. Mahovlich in the center ice area, again fed it to a Russian player, Varlamov. McGregor didn't see it. Varlamov pounced on it with Petrov going in. Shoots! Cheevers kicked that one out. And into the corner, Smith ran into Petrov. He's going to get a penalty. Petrov took a jolt from Smith. And he's pointing at Mahovlich now, Dombrowski. He's calling a slashing penalty. Don't tell me we're getting 2 of them.
I think he's going to put 2 men in there. He's got Smith on the first one. I'm not too sure it isn't Varlamov that he got on Mahovlich. And I think that's just the way it is, Bob. So he called 2 on the one play.
Oh, that must have been a dandy slashing effort by Varlamov if it warrants a call of a penalty, because slashing has been quite prevalent throughout this hockey game. But Smith is off. He got the elbow into Petrov, and Harlamov is off for slashing Mahavlich.
Uncommon call there. Bang, bang, around a whistle. And it'll put the teams 5 aside. Face off in the Canadian zone.
And here it is. Lacroix got the draw. J.C. Trombley coming out with Marty Howe. Marty Howe across his own line to center ice, up for Hull. Pass was tipped by Yakushev. Hull is in the corner, back of the goal. Can't control it. And Yakushev takes over for Russia. Coming out of his own zone, a long pass for Shadreen. Shadreen back to Yakushev, up over the line. He stops. Feeds it back again. They're just killing time now. The Russians, they're leading 4-2 with 8 minutes and 30 seconds left in the game. At center ice, Shadreen moving it in. Shadreen gets set, goes back of the net with it, tried to center it, and Cheevers just put his glove on it and got a whistle for a face-off in the Canadian zone. So the fans on both sides now, Soviet side and Canadian side, have quieted down as they're just checking the game out. 4-2 is the score. Russia leading by the pair. And a face-off now to the right of Jerry Cheevers. Lacroix with Hull for Canada. Marty Howe and Tremblay. Back to the line. Tsagunkov shoots. His shot went wide of the net. Cheevers moving on it, but he missed the goal. Tremblay coming out across the line. He's up at center. Took a long shot. Petyak loved that. He'll hang on to it. And they get another face-off, but this time up to the Soviet zone to the left of Tretiak.
On Saturday, we're on the air, CBC Radio Sports from Palace here in Moscow at 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time with Game 7 of the set, and then Sunday right back again at the same time to complete the Soviet segment of the series.
From the face-off, Backstrom put off stride. Gordie Howe on the boards, tried to knock it loose. And Gordie Howe gave Shadrin a bit of a push. Shadrin pushed him back. Now they have some words. That doesn't develop much further. Howe put the elbow up at Shadrin. Shadrin put it back again. That's about it. The Russians are changing. Vikulov and Aniston come out. They're 5 aside at the moment. Rick Smith and Harlamov serving penalties. They have 53 seconds left. Backstrom with Gordie Howe, Rick Lee, and Stapleton. Face off to the left of Petyak. Backstrom got the draw, went after it, gave it to Howe. He didn't get the pass, and up to center ice. Vikulov stopped by Gordie Howe, who stole it, and Howe carries it back in his own zone. Out to Backstrom. Backstrom pushed it ahead for Howe. He's on the goal. Gordie Howe up across the line, stopping inside the blue line. Looks for somebody free. Gives it to Stapleton. Stapleton back of the net for Backstrom. Backstrom to Stapleton again. Tsagunkov covering him. And Tsagunkov takes over. Tsagunkov ahead to Aniston. 2-on-1 again. Vikulov on his left. Aniston going into Vikulov. Set him up neatly, but he couldn't make contact. Now Stapleton ahead to Backstrom. He had a stick lifted by Aniston. Gordie Howe couldn't stop Vikulov. Vikulov circles back to his own blue line. Comes up near center. Good move on Backstrom. The penalties are over. Vikulov got it into Harlamov. He scores! Harlamov coming out of the penalty box. Broke in behind the defenseman. And the pass came up through everybody neatly. And he just tipped it in. 5-2 Russia.
This game is coming to you from the Luzhniki Sports Palace in Moscow.
Harlamov from Vikulov at 13 minutes, and it's 5-2. Now Schmier in his own zone with Tardif. Coming out across the line, Schmier got to center ice, lugging it all the way. Schmier up over the line, still has it in the corner. All Schmier, bumped by Vasilyev. Play goes right on, it comes back to Hull, up the blue line, into Hull again, and then the Russians broke it up. Harlamov looking for the lead pass, it didn't get there. He's offside, and the play is called.
Bob, at this point, it would appear that the Soviets, coming out of their defensive stance earlier in the period, that they've got a little too much skate at this point. They seem to be able to blanket the Canadian team, and then when they do get an opportunity, Tretiak has been stalwart in the Soviet net, and that penalty, after the twin penalties there to Smith and Harlamov, sudden thrust, giving them that 5-2 lead.
Tardif bringing it in for Canada, got across the line, and that's all. Lebedev is coming back with Yakushev on his left, Shadrin trailing. Lebedev in around the net, circles the goal, centered it, and Hull got in the way of the pass, laid it up on the boards, and it's over the boards, into the crowd, down to our right, and to the left of Jerry Cheevers, and the play is stopped.
Coach Billy Harris sticking resolutely to the four-line system that he's employed, while the Soviet Union has gone to 3 complete units, and they seem to be outplaying Team Canada. They are outplaying Team Canada at this point.
So this is almost a must game for Canada, either a win or a tie, because if the Soviets win tonight, a win or a tie on Saturday, and the series has been won. Into the corner. In the Russian zone, they hold it on the board. Anderson checking on Sigankov and Shadrin. And a face-off coming up to the right of Tretiak. Mahovlich with McGregor and Henderson, the forward line for Canada. Marty Howe and Tremblay. 4-2, Russia leading. McGregor got the draw. Hooked it to the side of the net for Henderson. He didn't see the pass. Yakushev brought it out across the line. Henderson, or rather McGregor, broke it up, gave it to Marty Howe, and the Russians get control again. Lebedev bringing it in. Lebedev over the line in front of the net. It escaped. Shatilov had his pass stopped by McGregor. Mahovlich couldn't clear it. Lebedev got it back to Yakushev, was knocked down, and coming back is Marty Howe. Up with Frank Mahovlich. Mahovlich going in, dropping it back, and the Russians get a 2-man break. A third one is catching up. Yakushev and Lebedev with Shatilov. Yakushev right in. Cheevers went down and made the save on Lebedev. But they've been breaking in all alone in this period. 5-2 is the score. Russia out front by 3. Puck goes into Mahovlich. Out to the blue line, the Russians keep it in, and Marty Howe and Lebedev were high-sticking. There's a slashing penalty coming up. Marty Howe, I think, will be going off. Lebedev and Howe get the 6-up. Now Marty Howe wants to go at it. A misconduct penalty coming up to Marty Howe, but he wants to go at Lebedev. Now Lebedev is quite satisfied and skates away.
Well, Marty pushed the linesman, and the linesman, that's the Soviet linesman, Nikolsev, put the hand on the hip. Now Dombrowski is trying to get him there. Gordon Howe is over there trying to ventilate the subject. As Doug Robb, the Canadian linesman, is there. He took a jolt from Henderson along the boards and was injured a little. But he's over there trying to cool out Father Gordon Howe. Mahovlich is there, and J.C. Tremblay is there. So Marty Howe will get 2 and 10.
Удаленно 10 минут. Марти Хоу, номер 10.
Wait a minute, the Russian gate has been opened, Fred.
Number 11, USSR.
Now we'll see if Lebedev has a penalty. He's still on the ice near the Soviet bench.
Number 10.
Well, I think there were the penalties called. Lebedev, yes, and Marty, and then Lebedev came up with the stick. Well, it looks like 2 apiece and 10 for Marty Howe.
It's been a rather frustrating evening for the hockey players, to say the least.
A 5-2 hockey game, in this game coming to you from the Luzhniki Sports Palace in Moscow. Fred Gambatti and Bob Cole as Marty Howe skates across to the penalty box on the far side. He'll have 2 and 10 with 4:56 remaining in the game. Canada trailing 5-2, and their outlook certainly not bright, as it's been uphill from the 25-second mark of the game when Mikhailov scored the first goal of the game, and at 2:43, Canada giving up a power play score by Vasiliev, and since that time, the Soviets, with their great speed, taking advantage of penalties, came back with another power play goal by Shadilov, which gave them a 2-goal lead again in the second period at 4-2, and Harlamov, coming out of the penalty box, sped a pass from Vikulov, and at the 13-minute mark, it was 5-2.
So, 3-goal deficit for Team Canada to pick up with less than 5 minutes to go. 15:04, these penalties, Marty Howe getting a minor and a misconduct, and Lebedev of the Soviets getting a minor penalty. So, 5 aside, little repair job being done on the ice at the moment, just inside Team Canada's blue line. Dombrowski supervising that bit of work. It's McKenzie. McKenzie seizes every opportunity to have a chat with an official in the series. Face-off just outside the Canadian blue line. Bobby Hull in his own zone. Hull winding up, gave it to McKenzie. McKenzie coming out at center ice is Lacroix. Lacroix going in with McKenzie right in on goal. And he centered it, but nobody was there but Vasiliev, and he played it down the ice. Team Canada moving back for it. And Bobby Hull coming out. This is a power play for Canada. Moving in is Lacroix. Lacroix tapped it to the goal mouth. They push at it, and the Russians get it away to clear it, with Mikhailov stopping at his own blue line. He is stopped by McKenzie, but got his pass away before he was hit. Petrov back to Vasiliev. Vasiliev up to Petrov again in the center ice area. They're killing a penalty now. Mikhailov went in for a shot, and he whistled it wide of Jerry Cheevers. Bobby Hull back in his own zone. He's around the net, starting out. Team Canada moving it out over the blue line. Extra man. It's Hull going in. A pass ahead to Hull. He didn't see it. Vasiliev after him, and it's cleared by Mahovlich down the ice. Cheevers comes 35 feet out to play it by Petrov, but just barely. Then at center, Mikhailov. Back in his own zone to Lachenko and Vasiliev. Vasiliev to Lachenko again in the corner. Lachenko shoots it down the ice as the Russians kill the time on the penalty. 28 seconds left in the penalty, and Hull going away again. At center ice, up over the line, Bobby Hull tried to do it himself. Trombley stopped it at the blue line for McKenzie. McKenzie faked his shot, gave it to Lacroix, who fell down. Now it's a pass by Mark Howe. Here's Lacroix to the side of the net. Back to Lacroix. They jam at it. McKenzie couldn't drive it in. Then he centered it. Again, Tretiak went down. It comes back to the line. Another drive right in front. And a scramble. Hull couldn't jam it across the blue line. Here's McKenzie. Oh, he tried to hit the top corner and just missed it. Team Canada all around the net, but can't get it in. Into the corner, Chadrine stopped by Lacroix, and the play is stopped. Lacroix and Tretiak are having some words now. A lot of traffic around the Russian goal, but nobody could get it by Tretiak. McKenzie tried to hit that top corner. You could see him pick it out, but he lifted it too high.
Just to sort out that penalty situation, Marty Howe got a 10-minute misconduct, and it was Lebedev with the high stick that got the 2 minutes, and that gave Canada the advantage there, and they had one good chance, but as Bob mentioned, that traffic around the net, just too much. Hull and Lacroix getting tangled up in there. They were inside the circular crease.
And 2 minutes and 41 seconds left. Russia leading by 3 goals, 5-2. The pass comes to center ice. Rick Lee at his own blue line. Over on this side for Mark Howe, going up with Gordie Howe in the clear. He shoots. And Petyak made a nice stick save on that low shot by Howe. Mark Howe keeping it in. Gordie again loose. Mark Howe shooting. And stopping that one was Luchenko. The pass coming to center. Vikulov going in with Kapustin. He took the shot, deflected into the crowd as it went off the stick of Rick Lee, and it went up over the glass into the crowd. 2:09 left to play in the hockey game. Russia in complete command now, leading by 3. It was 2-1 at the end of the first period and 4-2 at the end of the second period. Harlamov, having served a penalty, came on the ice and got a break in front of Cheevers all alone. Vikulov setting him up at 13 minutes, and that was the 5th goal. Russians changing again on the defense. Shadalov and Sigankov. The big line of Harlamov and Petrov is broken up. Shadrin is at center ice. Harlamov out on the left wing with Lebedev on the right side. Lebedev took a shot, again deflected over the glass into the crowd. So Mikhailov and Petrov have lost Harlamov on this ship. He's out on the left wing with Shadrin and Lebedev, so Yakushev is probably ailing a game. And there's a pass ahead for Cardiff too far down the ice. It'll be icing. It went over the goal line, and it's icing as Cardiff could not catch up with it.
Yes, it may have been a costly victory here. Bob Maltsev, as I mentioned, did not come back to the bench for the third period. Yakushev is sitting there almost by himself, and Coach Kalagan had used 3 lines. Now he has the shuffle act going with Yakushev apparently hurt again.
And, of course, it could be, with a 3-goal lead this late in the game, he'll be resting. Yakushev, who has a damaged right knee, torn ligament, suffered in Canada, and missing the first game here, but he's playing tonight. But you can see, not up to par, not 100%. Lebedev lost it in his own zone. Shadrin cleared it out on the boards to center ice. Vikulov moving in. Vikulov lost it against Schmier. And Schmier back of the net for Tardif and Bernier. Tardif has the puck to Bernier. Bernier couldn't get by Shadrin. Rick Smith goes back for it with 1.5 minutes left in the hockey game. 5-2 Russia leading. And they'll take control of the series for this win tonight. Schmier put it by Sigankov, but it hopped over the boards near the Canadian bench, and the play is stopped with 1:19 left to go.
Taking a look down at the 2 doctors, and Dr. Mark Young, I noticed him with a cut underneath an eye and a big black eye, and I asked him if he got the number of the fellow that hit him, and he said no, it was the puck that went flying over the boards, and he needed medical attention.
They've got a face-off coming up in the center ice area. Frank Mahovlich with Henderson and McGregor, Lee and Stapleton, Petrov, Mikhailov, and Harlamov. Petrov at center ice. Pass it back to Gusev. Gusev coming up near the center ice red line to Petrov again. They'll just hang on to the puck if they can now and kill the last 1.5 minutes of the hockey game. Just about a minute left now as it comes down the ice to Mikhailov. Knocked away by Henderson. Less than a minute to go in the game. 55 seconds. 5-2 Russia. So this one is in the bag for the Soviets. And the next game Saturday, the last game Sunday. Stapleton comes up over the line with Henderson. Back to Mahovlich. Mahovlich put it on the boards, and Vasiliev out to Gusev. Gusev to center. Harlamov stops it up the blue line with 35 seconds left. Gusev takes over. Gusev up to center ice. He comes back again. Hit McGregor with his pass. Mikhailov tossed it back to Petrov. Petrov over on the other side to Gusev.
shortage of space on this planet.
Lee. Oh, Rick Lee starts fighting with Harlamov. And they've got a real old Donnybrook going out there now, and Paul Smear is squared off with somebody, and well, this is what we were afraid would happen earlier, and what the officials will do about this, we have no idea, but Rick Lee started with Harlamov. They've had a feud going all night long, and there is one question that becomes patently obvious, Howie. How are we going to pick the most gentlemanly player at the end of the series?
The two goalies are standing there talking to each other, and the substitute goalies were almost at it.
Well, Don McLeod went into the fray. He went in to pull Vasiliev off because Vasiliev had jumped on into a one-on-one situation, and he went in and pulled him off, and then he skated away. Now, what's going to happen? The scoreboard is so full and the place is so loud, we're just wondering how we're going to get any information as to what the outcome of this might all be. It was a rough game. It was a very chippy hockey game. There was a lot of spearing going on. There were a lot of things that had happened during the game. Harlamov is the first to leave. He goes right to the dressing room. And the players are... They're not even... The Russian players are refusing to shake hands. Gordie Howe is shaking hands with one or two of them. The Russians are being called back to the ice to shake hands. The Canadians are remaining out there on the ice to shake hands, but the Russians have gone to the dressing room. I see Shadilov, Vasiliev, Tretiak, Vikulov, Stigankov. They have remained out there to shake hands with the Canadian team, but the rest of them have refused to shake hands, and I don't ever recall seeing this happen in international hockey before. And as they turn to skate away, the officials still remain out there at center ice. Now, it's difficult to describe it. It's hard to explain it. It's hard, totally impossible to rationalize it. But it's a group of hockey players who are high-strung. They, of course, are very nervous and very exhausted. Tempers have flared all night. A lot of players took a lot of shots at each other. There was a lot of spearing going on, which, in my opinion, next to kicking, is the worst infraction of all in hockey. And there was far too much of that let go. The officials, I thought, as they said at the beginning of the game, that Dombrowski would fill the penalty box early, and this kind of thing would not happen. But now I see that Gordie Howe is being brought back out, along with, well, they're going to choose the two most valuable players in the game. Gordie Howe is one of them, but everybody has left the official area, so I don't know whether they're just giving up or not. I think what they're trying to do is they're getting Gordie Howe out, and the Soviet player Mihailov are coming out to receive the Olympic coins, the commemorative Olympic coins, as a gesture on behalf of Ron Roberts, the president of the WHA Players Association. Gordie Howe and Mihailov are now going out. I don't know whether we're going to be able to get Gordie Howe over to our television camera over there. They're calling him over, but there's such a group of militia down there that I don't know if even Gordie Howe can fight his way through that crowd to try to get to our camera. I don't know whether we'll be able to get him there or not. He's trying to make his way through to talk to Don Chevrier, and we might get some indication of this as to what happened or what the final result was. Here comes Gordy. I see they also have Gordie Howe is now down there with Don. Okay, Don.
All right, Johnny. We're here with Gordie Howe, and the whistling's going on. And, well, what can you say? I mean, it seemed to be building up throughout the series, and tonight the tempers exploded. It all went crazy.
No excuses, but the refereeing's atrocious. The rules state anytime you drop your glove, take a couple of whacks, it's 10 minutes. So we end up with an extra 2, and they score a goal. So that broke the game wide open. But still, the game is puck control, and they had it. We had it in the second. We had a real good shot that we tied up and looked like we were coming on strong and running a couple of penalties and all heck broke loose.
Well, back in Canada, the committees to end violence in hockey are blaming the Canadian style, but there's no doubt, Gordy, is there the Soviets are dishing it out every bit as hard as you fellas were, if not more so.
Well, different than what we retaliate with the maybe the odd elbows or heavy body check, but what they don't see is there's quite a bit of kicking and an awful lot of hooking going on, and after a while, I know Coach Billy Harris is saying, now retain yourself, and I know Team 72 said retain yourself. A lot of guys I talked to, he said it's going to be hard to do, and that's right. It's impossible. But actually, I'm not going to cry about it. They have a tremendous team, and we have to be at our best to beat them, and we haven't been the last couple of games.
Why not? What's gone wrong?
I don't know. I think just a fever pitch. It's something which I was told about, and I couldn't explain it, that when the national anthem was played in Quebec, you sang with so much pride, and you stood there and you're just shivering in your boots. The puck felt like a 5 pound. And I think the adrenaline has slowly leaked a little, and we have to pump ourselves up because all we can do now is break even, and that wouldn't be too bad for a team that didn't have, really, as we mentioned, didn't have much of a chance. And after you watch them practice, you start to believe it for a while. But I still think we have a good chance of tying this thing up and coming home with our heads high and a very proud feeling.
Gordy, congratulations on what's been an outstanding series for you so far.
Thank you, and for those people who are backing us up, don't give up. We'll try our best.
All right, Gordy. Let's go back upstairs now to Johnny Esau and Howie Meeker. Okay, we're back down here with Jean-Claude Tremblay. What could you say about it?
Well, let's face it, we lost the game. I don't think we should be happy about it. And I'm pretty sure that most of the guys are not happy about the refereeing. We didn't have the break there, and let's face it, they scored 2 goals and probably that made the difference, I would say.
The officiating, its inconsistency must frustrate a hockey player, seeing things go by that aren't called and should be.
Well, let's face it, it's on both sides, and I think he missed a few on their side, and I wonder why, because even if he's a Russian, he's got to call them on both sides. I don't know why.
Well, how does this team feel now? Can you and some of the veterans like Gordy settle them down and get them ready for the next 2 games here?
Well, I hope so. Let's face it, we've got to stop getting stupid penalties like we're getting and start to play hockey like we did at the end of the first period. I really thought that we could have come with a great game tonight. And they scored 2 fast goals, and after that we got the lives. And in the second period, we didn't do too good, and neither in the third. So I think we got to come up with 2 big games for the rest of the series.
Did you find the Soviets, as soon as you got to Moscow, the very first period Tuesday, were responding physically? In other words, they were eager to play a rough, tough kind of game?
Well, it's the Tuesday. That was the toughest game I ever played in my life. Geez, they were hitting, and we were, and there were lots of tricks going on the ice, and we got to play with it, and let's hope we came up a winner.
Physically, in terms of playing the rough game, how do they compare with all the clubs you've played against over the years in the NHL and the World Hockey Association?
It's not really the way they hit. It's really the way they play tricks on you most of the time. I know they hit a couple of guys tonight, like the number 19 hit Serge Bonnier when he was hit. He should have a penalty, and he never got one. And when you expect a hit from somebody and you get it from somebody else, it's not the same, really.
What about the kicking and the other things that I'm sure you've never seen before in hockey?
Well, I haven't been kicked myself, but they've been hooking me and all those things, you know. But now I'm expecting them, and I can avoid them most of the time, really.
I talked to Gordy about this. I'm not saying the rough stuff, the penalties, are any kind of real excuse, but it has been a factor. But, JC, it seems the Russians have been sharper. They've been skating better. Their combinations are better ever since they got home. And something happened to our team, it seems, between the time we left Vancouver and Tuesday here.
Well, I think we missed a bit of training in between the series, and that shows there in the first two games, I think. Let's hope that those two games are going to do us some good for the next two.
Let's hope so. Congratulations again on your personal outstanding play.
Thank you.
Now let's, again, go back out to Johnny.
Well, there were a number of stars in the hockey game, a number of reasons why the game went the way it did, Howie, but I think the most impressive thing that happened all night was the play of Harlamov, particularly the goal that he scored that made it 5-2. It was the final score of the night. He was as professional as you want to see when he's completely covered by two men and are still able to split the two, go in off balance, get a shot, and beat a guy like Jerry Cheevers.
Well, certainly he had that goal coming, Johnny. He did everything all night long except score a goal. He set up a couple. He was in one time and had Cheevers beat, bounced it off the post, and another time just shot wide. He's just a great little hockey player. But he had lots of help tonight. I was really impressed with that little Shetelov. He's no bigger than half a minute, but boy, he's got a heart like a watermelon. Tough and rough, and Kapustin just played a great game, and I think as well as Cheevers played, the fellow at the other end, Trichik, came up with 4 or 5 key saves. For Team Canada, well, Bernier had enough chances. Trichik robbed them twice. Once he didn't make a good play, and another time he hit the crossbar. Could have had 4 goals with any luck at all. Young Rajan Hu played extremely well, as did Cheevers. Here's the play that comes up here. Now watch Mikhailov make the key pass to Harlamov. And Harlamov come out of the penalty box on the fly. It just took him one stride, and he was in top speed. There, he avoided the check there. That's Mikhailov. Now look at the great play. Slipped it through the middle, and that little guy went in and put it in. Now there's the pass. Look, there he missed the check. If the check is completed by Backstrom there, no goal. Now, it's passed over to Harlamov going through the middle. And as Johnny said, just splits the defense. We get a stick on him enough to pull him down, but we don't control his stick, and he controls the puck, and in it goes, and that's the one that killed us.
Well, we'd like to remind everybody that Game 7 and Game 8 on Saturday and Sunday on the two CTV and CBC networks will be at 11 o'clock. That's Eastern time. So check the time in your area. It's an hour and a half earlier than has been coming through here. So we would like you to check you at that time. And now, that's the story then from Luzhniki Stadium in Moscow. This is Johnny Esau with Howie Meeker, along with Don Chevrier downstairs, hoping that you've enjoyed the telecast, the parts that we're able to get through to you, and wishing you all a very pleasant good night.
Game 6 of the Canada-Soviet Series, live from Moscow. Brought to you by Toronto Dominion Bank, the bank where people make the difference. By Gulf Oil Canada Limited, its dealers, agents, and distributors across Canada. By Carling O'Keefe, brewers of O'Keefe Ale and Old Vienna Lager Beer. This is the CTV Television Network.